What does it truly mean to serve? Is leadership about power or about responsibility? Welcome to Your Stewardship, a compelling radio program that shines the spotlight on individuals in positions of service and the impact they've made or are still making on the people they serve. From public officials to community leaders, from the health sector to education and beyond, we ask the tough questions. Have they been accountable? Have they delivered? Have they truly served? This is more than just a conversation. It is a moment of reflection, transparency, and truth. Join us as we explore real stories, real challenges, and real outcomes, because stewardship is not just a title, it's a duty. Your stewardship, service, accountability, and impact.
Leadership is not a title, it is a trust. Every position of influence comes with a receipt, and on Your Stewardship, we audit that receipt. Today we turn the lens on a woman who didn't just step into history, she rewrote history. To describe our guest is to recount a story of firsts, of shattered ceilings, and of a relentless pursuit of engineering excellence. For 65 years, the presidency of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, NSE, was a male-only sanctuary. But in January 2024, that changed forever. Engineer Margaret Oguntala stepped into the limelight as the 34th and first female president of the NSC, and she is a proud daughter, I may bold to say that, of Ondo State. Here's our question. As the ceiling she shattered translated into tangible change for 60,000 young engineers, has the rebirth she promised deliver more than rhetoric? Today on Your Stewardship, we will test our promises against our performance. We will weigh her impact against public expectation, and we will ask the hard questions. When the tenure ends, will the legacy stand? Welcome to Your Stewardship. I am Remy Allen. Today, we hold account and celebrate excellence where it is due. Please join me to welcome a phenomenal engineer, Margaret Oguntala, the mother of modern-day engineering in Nigeria. Madam, you are most welcome to the Bar of Stewardship.
For the intro.
Beyond all the titles, the FNSC, FNHCHE, FNIEE, what defining moment shaped your personal understanding of accountability?
I'll say the defining moment will be a time when I was in secondary school. I was social prefect in my final year in Form 5, as we called it at the time. And I had to bring people together for a particular program. And so the school kind of earmarked some money, for the event, and also asked me to organize it and organize my co-students. And then I realized that, so we started working towards the program planning. And then somehow I realized that I had to take responsibility for the action of everyone and not just the financial aspect. So taking responsibility means you have to be accountable as well. For the actions of your actions and the actions of your colleagues. So that was a kind of defining moment for me when the principal called me and said, Margaret, my maiden name is Ayeni.
Okay.
I said, Margaret Ayeni. I said, Ma. And she asked me, are you sure that you know
Recording
what to do
in progress.
Because you are going to do us a report of the entire event, starting from the planning to how you handled your colleagues and how you manage the resources? And I said, yes, ma'am. I started paying closer attention to everything that was done and every detail, so that I could, at the end, account for the activities starting from, inception to implementation, to planning, implementation, and everything. So that taught me a big lesson in accountability.
Wow.
And since then, I've learned to be accountable. Everywhere that I find myself, in everything that I do, I know that even when I'm not asked, I ask myself the question, so how do you account for this? How do you account for your time? How do you account for everything? Because accountability, like I said earlier, goes beyond. So when you hear accountability, a lot of people think accounts means money.
Mm-hmm.
I know some of my engineering colleagues who say, okay, is the person accountable, and they're only thinking about the
financial aspect of it.
But it's a lot more than that. It's a lot more than that.
Wow.
So I've learned from that age 15, to be accountable.
Quite an interesting beginning there. A lot of people don't know that no matter the chores they are given or the chores they've been given at a tender age, it could help them in future to be who they become or what they do. Okay, who or what formed the discipline and resilience that have carried you through this journey? Is it someone, or apart from the events you have that you just recounted, is there any other thing that has helped you so far?
Yes, a few things helped me. I grew up in a polygamous family. So, to survive a polygamous family, you must be strong. Emotionally, in particular. Emotional strength, and emotional, so your emotional quotient, or IQ, and IQ is different, that's intelligence, but your emotional quotient must be very high for you to survive in a polygamous family. So I learned that also very early in life. So that made me stronger, even growing up. And then I had a cheerleader in my father, who at every point in time made me realize that I could be better. Everything that I did, my father would applaud, and do all of that, and he would still tell me, but you could have done it better. You are better than this. So he encouraged me, and he made me realize that early enough that I could do anything. That kind of I can do spirit. So growing up, I didn't know the word impossibility. So I felt that I could do anything. So as my father, I also have a few other people in my life who helped to also do that. I studied engineering because of the advice that I got from my uncle at the time. I wasn't going to study. My father wanted me to become a medical doctor, like most fathers at that time, but I didn't like biology. And then I was going to just do something. I wanted to maybe study international relations or something. And my uncle said, international relations is too simple for you. So why don't you go and study chemical engineering? After all, I was in my class, I was in the top 3. So maybe for at least 2 years, I never came even third, first or second, mostly second. So my uncle said, so why would you go and throw all that away on international relations? So go and study engineering, chemical engineering. So that also helped, And so I also he told me I would do so much more than interior at the time. So I said, okay, why not? So that's how I became a chemical engineer. So I've had people and events, of course, like the one that I mentioned earlier, that have shaped my career so far.
Yeah, the events from the secondary school days where you were given a chore and you have to take into account all that happened, including all the individuals who were there. You have to be accountable to them. Okay, your book is Grace-Filled Footprints, but leadership also leaves scars. What is one decision you wish you could revisit?
Okay, So let me think of the one that is the most profound of them. Yes. So I wish not decided to, at some point, because I came in with a program, with an agenda, and the agenda was something the Nigerian Society of Engineers for the growth, empowerment, and advancement of engineering in Nigeria. And then one of the first few things that we're supposed to do was training of about 60,000 engineers. And then we were to collaborate with NCDMB. So I chased them, ran after them and everything. And one day I was like, okay, maybe we can't do that. With the benefit of hindsight, I should have, insisted on getting that done. We later did some training. We didn't achieve the number that we wanted because we couldn't conclude that collaboration or partnership. But of course, we later had an event with, we later had a different kind of collaboration with NCDMB for the Nigerian Engineering Olympiad, which is competition on an innovation competition for final years university students. So, but that wasn't what I wanted. What I wanted initially was to train young engineers, that many young engineers, and I couldn't. So I think I gave up too easily on that. So with the benefit of hindsight, I shouldn't have decided to stop pursuing that dream. I should instead, and maybe I would have been able to do, just that, or maybe at least half of that. We later got some partners who funded training. Have pursued the matter more, and gotten exactly what we had in our agenda. So that's one glitch that I had.
Okay, you rose to the top in a male-dominated profession, and we know that's not easy at all. What were the real unspoken obstacles that you had to confront to be able to get to the top?
The biggest one was convincing the men that I had the time and energy. So I'll just tell you something that happened to me earlier.
Okay.
I started from the Nigerian Society of Engineers BK branch. I joined the Engr branch in 1995. And at my second meeting, I was made chairman of a planning committee for an event for the annual dinner and awards night. I was scared because I was like, I had no experience, I didn't know what to do. But the chairman at the time, may God rest his soul, Engineer Chiki Imora of blessed memory. I went to somebody, so he had so much confidence in me, more than I had in
yourself.
Yes. So I was scared. So I spoke with someone and I said, sir, I don't know what to do about this thing. And the man said, yes, you really can't do it. You don't have experience, go and meet the chairman, tell him that you can't do it. So in your life, you meet people who will encourage you, and you also will meet people who will tell you that you can't. But because I also wasn't used to I cannot.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure that he was telling me anything. I kind of felt he wasn't telling me the right thing. I said, what? He said, okay, I'll help you. So I went to the chairman and I said, sir, I'm not sure that I can. Man asked me why. I said, because I don't have experience. He said, so how do you get experience? He said, look. I said, but it's my new here. I'm new in the branch. He said, yes. He said, but however, I had been to 2 meetings, and at each of the 2 meetings, I made contributions that showed him that I had potential, that I knew what I was doing, and that I could be trusted with any assignment. I was wowed. I said, how did this man, that kind of thing. So I went back to that's my discourager, so to speak. And he said, okay. And he said, in that committee, there's a woman who is the vice president of the Association of Professional Women Engineers. And you are just the the secretary or assistant secretary. So how would you be chairman of a committee where your national vice president is a member? I said, okay. So I went back to the chairman, and the chairman said, Margaret, this is NSC, not Apple. That day, I knew that sometimes you just need one person, to kind of believe in you. However, it's not everybody that will believe in you. So I found out later that I managed that event, planned it, and for we had the highest, in fact, we had the best event, and the one with the highest surplus ever in the Ikeja branch.
Wow.
So I started growing there. And then I wanted to become chairman in 2001. I had an 8-month-old baby, my last born, who is now married. So I had that, and then I had 2 other older children. And you know why I lost that election? Because most of the people felt Margaret will not have time. She's a nursing mother. Meanwhile, I was secretary. The job of a secretary, I contested for vice chairman. Because you can't become chairman unless you have been, at that time, you couldn't be chairman unless you have been vice chair. But they didn't vote for me because I'm a woman and I would not have the time. That was their belief. So it took me time to be able to convince people that, look, this leadership is not really about the strength, your physical strength. It's not even about how much time you think that you have. You create time for what you want to do.
Exactly.
Nobody really has time. So I had to spend time to convince them. And then I didn't become chairman until 2009 of Ikeja branch. I was the first female chairman too at the time.
Wow.
And then I showed them that, yes,
you can do it.
they thought I didn't have time. So even those who did not vote for me the first time, even those who were not sure, came to me personally, openly, and covertly to say, yes, we were wrong. That indeed, we should have had you earlier. I made a lot of changes to the branch, moved to a permanent site. A lot of things that some of the men who had time did not do.
Time in quotes.
So, exactly, quotes. so it's proving to people, to the men who are majority in my profession, that it doesn't matter that I tie scarf or I have my makeup, I am still as strong and resilient, or if not more, than many of them.
And I'm sure that your father's words growing up, believing in you, telling you can do it, you have more in you to give, also stood you out in all of this.
Oh, yes.
Yes, it did.
Definitely.
Okay, what was that?
I was there to witness my inauguration as chairman of Ikeja.
Wow.
But by the time I became president, unfortunately, I passed. I wish he had.
He has seen this as well. Well, wherever he is, he's watching from heaven, and I'm sure he's very proud of you. So, was there a moment the system worked against you, apart from this Ikeja narration you gave, when they thought because you're a woman, you're a nursing mother, you will not have the time? And how did you push through without compromise? You know that this is very important, especially being a woman.
Yes, so that incident wasn't the only one. I had another election in 2017. So when I finished at Ikeja branch, I moved to the national. Went for EXCO, vice president, no issues. And then it was time to become president. So I applied for the position of, so the deputy president automatically takes over from the president. Like right now, the person who was my deputy took over on January 1. So I contested for the position of deputy president in 2010. And some people would ask me, are you sure that NSC is ready for a female president? And I would be like, how do you know when you are sure? What you need is somebody who can lead the society and lead well. Doesn't matter whether the person is a man or a woman. And let me shock you, even some women were not sure. Some women were even saying that INEC is not ready for a female president. So I also had to prove to them. Of course, at that time I lost the election. We were 3 who contested, we had a man and 2 women. The man
took the day.
Won the election. They defeated both of us easily. And then I didn't give up. And I kept engaging people, remain on the system, remain visible. Because there's still a lot of politics involved, of course. I remained visible, increasing my network and collaborations. And then by 2021, we were 5. We had 5 contestants, 2 men and 3 women. And I was able to defeat the remaining 4, the other 4, to become deputy president. And even in 2021, I still had to explain to even women that NSC was indeed
ready for a woman president.
So the gender thing, and this also played out when we were the last election for deputy president in December. We had a female contesting with 2 men. And some people came to me and said, you are a female president. Do you think it's right for us to have another female so soon? I asked them, was it right to have 33 male presidents before we had 1 female? So I became president we are 68 now. I became president in our 66th year of establishment.
Wow,
so,
66.
And then they will say, well, it's not easy. This, that. But they don't have any serious reason. Because
you're a
to the
woman.
glory of God, I had proved to them. I had one past president, one of my favorite past presidents, who is what I call a disciplinarian. He said at one event last year, he said, thank God. He said they were giving me an award, and he said this award not just for her, but it's for the entire society, because we have had, after 66 years of recklessness, those were his words. I quote. He said after 66 years of recklessness, we had the vision and the presence of mind to vote for a woman, and now we are seeing the difference.
And I think your story is enough for Nigeria to even learn from. It's about time we have our first female governor and even a first female president in Nigeria. And the issue.
I know somebody who is working towards that.
Okay. To be that. And it also goes. And also, we have to, this issue of women not supporting women. You mentioned that while you were talking. I think that's our major problem.
It is. It's our major problem.
Yes.
But there's a lot of change now. I can see it. Because I'm a woman supporter. Throughout my 2 years as president, the men knew when we form a committee, I want to have 3 female. And then I supported the person who gave the current deputy president, who is female. I openly supported her.
You're supporting her? Let me ask, are you supporting her because she's a female, or you're supporting her because you know she can deliver?
Okay, so let me now explain that to you. A number of times, and I say this with all humility. When you give a chance to a man and a woman, the woman, of course, the one who is serious, will naturally be more focused on the job. We are that's the way we are wired.
I agree with you.
More focused, more detailed, and all of that. So this woman, she even became vice president before me. She's the one that I contested with in 2017.
Okay.
So she's of the 3 candidates, there was no doubt at all. Really, when you put their profile side by side, you will know that she was the best candidate. But then the only thing that she had going against her was the fact that she's a woman.
Which is usually the case.
So people were, we have a woman, why do we want to have another woman so soon? So a lot of people forgot the fact to look at the merits of the situation. The fact that she was the most qualified, in my opinion, and in the opinion of, eventually it showed in the votes, the number of votes. So many people knew, even from the beginning, many people knew that she was the best candidate, the best man for the job.
That they refuse to pick.
That's what we used to say when I was contesting, that the best man for the is a woman this time around.
Yes.
So the same thing happened last year. The best man for the job was that woman. So I just support her because she's a woman. I also knew, because it was also important for me to support the best candidate.
For your job to be easy.
Everything that I had done would just go to waste if I didn't ensure that I supported the best candidate. Because we had president coming in who is also very good. So we needed to have somebody to keep up the good job and improve on whatever I have been able to do. So it wasn't just because she's a woman, it's also because she
had it in her. Okay, all right. Yes. So what does it really take, not in theory this time around, but in practice, for a woman to lead in the engineering industry in Nigeria today?
Well, what it takes is just, it's still those things that it takes theoretically. It's just practicalizing them. I mentioned earlier that a woman is naturally more focused. So what it takes is resilience. Really. Resilience. And you have to have a lot of guts, courage. Because you will need to make some decisions that some people will not like. And then you just know that it's the best. As long as it is the best for the association, then you must be willing to do it. So courage, resilience, and then the passion for the job. And we have a lot of that.
And you must be ready to step on toes.
Oh, that's why I mentioned that. That's the courage.
Yes.
To step on toes. But you know, as a people, you also do it the Omoluabi way.
Yes, so.
Like one of my past presidents will say, she'll say, Madam President, you have a way of doing things, the Omoluabi way. You will tell somebody to go to hell, and the person will willingly and
surrender himself or herself to hell.
So you also have to be able to do that. And so that's for women, it should come naturally.
Yeah.
Because so we don't. So I had a lot of that. I was able to just tell people off without necessarily offending them. You know, expectations. Somebody will come to say, Madam President, I want this, and I know that I'm not going to do it. It's against the law. But I won't tell the person that, sorry, I'm not going to do this. I will do it. I will put it in such a way that the person will be glad to take my advice of stepping back. So those are the things that one needs.
It takes a lot of wisdom.
Yes, that's wisdom. So wisdom, and then you have to also be able to, as a woman, people look up to you. So fellow women are looking up to you as an example. And then the men are also looking at you from the point of integrity. So there's a lot that one has to do, to ensure that, you keep yourself you are upright in every way that is possible as a human being.
Okay. Leadership is often confused with position. In your own words, what does stewardship means to you?
See, leadership, when you are appointed or elected, and in my own case, I was elected to lead the Nigerian Society of Engineers. The first thing that came to my mind, I was a servant leader. I was a servant, so it's stewardship. So you have to first see yourself as rendering stewardship. It's not every leader, so like you have said, it's not everybody that gets to the top, which we consider as leadership, that understands the fact that it's about stewardship. So they just feel that, okay, now I'm here, I'm the boss. I never saw that. I never thought of that. I saw it as service and rendering service as steward. I saw myself as a steward. So it's I've never in my life, everywhere that I've found myself, felt this boss thing. I've always felt like a chief servant, like the former governor of Niger State. And so I became president. I realized that those words more, it meant more to me when he insisted on being called chief servant. So when you see yourself as chief servant, then it's easy for you to lead. It's easy for you to mentor people. It's easy for you to deal with people without offending them, without using your position. So the position is something. It doesn't really matter so much because you are still you dealing with people. And then you are supposed to, at that time, be even more sensitive to the feelings of people. Stewardship means rendering of service to people, particularly those who have trusted you enough to allow you to lead them. Because it requires a lot of trust in people. It's only when people repose trust in you that they vote for you and stuff. So, in my opinion, stewardship means rendering service to those who trust you, to trust you enough to put you in a leadership position. So I've kind of joined the three now.
Okay. In case you've just joined us, this is your stewardship on Orange 94.5 FM, and today we've been playing host to a woman of first. A woman, the first female president, a NSC president in Nigeria. That's in person of Mrs. Margaret Oguntala. All right, moving on. Let's weigh your promises versus your performance. That's the real accountability test. Your MOPSA agenda, and that MOPSA, you'll tell me the full meaning. Your MOPSA agenda promised a rebirth. What are the 3 measurable outcomes that prove this was more than just a slogan?
All right, thank you. MOPSA means Margaret Oguntala Presidency Strategic Agenda.
Wow.
And incidentally, it was unveiled at my investiture on 20th January 2024. And we presented it to the Council of the Nigerian Society of Engineers in March. And it was adopted as the NSC Strategic Agenda. So that is the extent of trust
bestowed on you.
Work that have been put into preparing that agenda. So it's no longer MOPSA. It came in as MOPSA and it's now NSC Strategic Agenda, which turn has been divided into. I think we have a 10-term agenda now, taken from that MOPSA. So our major the theme, of course, like I've mentioned, was rebirthing the Nigerian Society of Engineers. And we asked for three measurable
outcomes. Outcomes that actually proved this was more than just a slogan.
Yes. So the MOPSA was anchored on 5 pillars. Pillar 1 was membership development. And under membership development, we had membership growth and capacity development, continuous, CPD, continued professional development.
Okay.
Those were the 2 major items under that pillar. On membership growth, we were able to grow the membership of the society within the 2 years by 12%. On continuing professional development, we were able to train about, I think eventually we trained, 1,000 young engineers and 200 older engineers. So we focused on professional development. But apart from that, we also, in terms of still on professional development or developing the potentials of engineers, both young and old, we were able to get to partner. We got a partnership. We got into partnership with the company, Midas IT. And they donated software worth $17.4 million. to
That's huge.
10 universities. So those are outcomes on pillar 1. Pillar 2, which was intergovernmental collaborations and partnerships. Within the first year of my tenure, we were able to collaborate with many organizations, government and private sector. For instance, we collaborated with the Federal Ministry of Agri for our conference in 2024. And the theme of the conference was food security and climate change, engineering solutions for food security and climate change. At least for the first time in a long time, let me put it that way, in recent times, we got the ministry to fully collaborate with us on that. And you know that collaboration is the key now if you want to get things done.
Yeah.
So, and even international international bodies, the American embassy, we're also able to collaborate with them to get visas for international engagements such as offshore technology conference, all that. We got the Nigerian Content and NCDLA and Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board to sponsor us to offshore technology conference in Houston in both 2024 and 2025. We also collaborated with the Nigerian Oil and Gas, and so this were the outcomes, and there are physical things to show for all of this. Last year, our conference was on now I've forgotten what the title was, but then we also collaborated with government on that, and the Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy. So it's so those are outcomes that we had from, and we also promised more visibility. NSC was in the news almost every day, and for all the good reasons.
For the good reasons.
Such that we have people approach us, for partnerships, for collaborations, even from far away Russia. So we made good our promise on all the pillars, and we gave the reports. When you read, I'll send a copy to you.
Okay.
A copy of the graceful good prints to you.
Okay.
And then you see them. The book is done in that order of the pillars, of the 5 pillars, with measurable outcomes. Such that that's why we decided to document, because people forget easily. Even
Yes.
I have forgotten some of the things that we did.
I agree with you.
But at least we have this documented, and I'll send it to you.
All right. I'll be glad to have it. As a woman who has gotten to the pinnacle of her career in a male-dominant field, how have you impacted young girls who are interested in science, technology, engineering, and even mathematics, that's STEM? How have you impacted them directly?
I have this group. I call them the Oguntala Young Engineers Oguntala group, and we have a lot of young girls there. But apart from that group, I have contributed knowledge-wise and even financially to the support of the girl child in STEM. And in particular, we started something that we call the Margaret Oguntala Academy. For Margaret Oguntala Oguntala Academy. It's for training young girls, young women.
Okay.
Not just in STEM, just in STEM,
Yes.
and then hands-on, skills acquisition, sort of.
So beyond the certificates.
Not just certificates, also to take them through hands-on for electrical, and then we try to get jobs for them. So we also have that. Capacity Development Academy, Maukada. So Margaret Oguntala Capacity Development Academy. So we have that, which we run for young girls. And then as far as mentoring very young girls is concerned, I have just recently, most recently, I was invited by a group that organizes, it's a UN program, an annual UN program for, what do you call this thing that you go to do when you go to schools?
IT?
Career talk.
Okay, career talk. Okay.
Kind of career, yeah. So I also did a lot of that, to go to schools, to talk to young girls, using myself as an example, as a perfect example of what a woman can do when she puts her mind to it.
Your stewardship on Orange 94.5 FM, and I'm playing host to a woman I call the mother of modern day engineering in Nigeria, and that's no other person than Engr Margaret Oguntala. She's been telling us a lot about this profession, what she's been able to do, breaking that barrier of women cannot get to the top in engineering. We know that when we talk about engineering, we're talking about a profession that is mostly dominated by men. And then we have a woman at the end of affairs. She got there and she did all she could. In case you just joined us, you're welcome to the program. I won't say you've not missed because really she has said a lot, but I know we still have quite a lot to draw from her. Welcome back to the program. Engr Margaret Oguntala, you underscored the need for transformational leadership in your book, and that book you have promised to send to me. Leaders in Nigeria are criticized for making promises that don't translate, to real life impact. In your experience, what is the biggest disconnect here, and how can it be fixed?
Okay, thank you. You see, the first thing that a lot of people do when they are campaigning, and seeking support for leadership position is to put things together, things that they think people would like, not necessarily things that they can do. So, and that's the first mistake that many leaders make. So, you want to promise a lot of things. Even I watched Trump during his campaign. We are going to fix America. We are going to do this, and he never said what he was going to do.
To fix America.
So, for a lot of leaders, they may have an idea of, okay, it would be nice to do this, but how do you do it? And I think it's better to start from how you intend to do something before you promise it. So the disconnect is in the fact that they really don't. Some people don't really know the extent of the promise, of the work that is required for them to keep that promise. So in my own case, 1 year before I took over office, I put together a group of people to look at we did a survey. We even took a survey of the needs of our members, the perspective of non-engineers of what NSE is, both engineers and non-engineers. What did they think? How did they perceive the Nigerian Society of Engineers? What would a member have to feel fulfilled? Or what were the things that a member needed to make him feel that he should pay his subscription, his annual subscription? So we did all of that, and then we put together that concern, realizing that these were the things that we needed to do, and then how to go about it. So it was not too difficult for all. We already knew, as a matter of fact, we already knew who we're going to approach for each of those items or those things that we had promised. For instance, there was a major issue that members, I promised I was going to make life easier for our members. And I was going to do a lot of, I was going to train. I promised that. Even in my campaign, I promised young engineers that I will look into capacity development for you. And I did that. I said we were going to make sure that NSC was heard and seen in all the right places. Be at the table. at every time that it was necessary. And it wasn't too difficult because we knew how to do them. And that's why we were able to achieve. So there was no disconnect in the promises and the actual. So I've told you now what the disconnect usually is. Sometimes people just want votes. You just want to, and then you say lofty things that you cannot do. We didn't promise anything that was out of the world. We only promised things that engineers
you'll be able to achieve.
And then we're able to deliver on those promises.
All right, we'll take a short break. When we'll come back, the program continues.
What does it truly mean to serve? Is leadership about power or about responsibility? Your Stewardship, a compelling radio program that shines the spotlight on individuals in positions of service and the impact they've made or are still making on the people they serve.
Welcome back. This is Your Stewardship on Orange 94.5 FM, and I have Engr Margaret Oguntala, the president of NSC, Nigeria Society of Engineers, and she's still right here with me. I'll move to the next thing I have here for you. You're celebrated as the first female president, but critics say the old power structure still controls the system. How true is that?
The old power structure?
Yes, still controls the system. Yes, you're the female president, but there are still some people beating the drum underneath.
Well, okay. In my case, there was something like that, really. I had people that worked with me, men, and really, I had a lot of men who did a lot of work. And my tenure was one that was marked by the fact that there was no godfatherism. And nobody could say that, these are the people that if you want president to do this, just go and meet these people who are beating the drum from under. There was nothing like that. So I came in with an agenda, and I was focused on the agenda. And incidentally, there was no particular person beating any drum. It was just me and my team, working day and night, and those people really drove me. Those my mobster people. You know, those are people who come and say, Madam President, this is April. This is what you are supposed to be doing. You know? And then to the extent that one of them had invited one of them to come and be director of membership services. So when the people outside could not reach me, they would call him. And then they would just walk into my office with a jotter and they say, Madam President, we'll talk. That helped me a lot. Because I had people who were monitoring my growth. We also set up a committee. We called it the Cadence Committee. And this committee drew a program of meeting with boards, because the Nigerian Society of Engineers is run through boards and committees, which report to council. And the Cadence Committee would have meetings with boards and committees, asking them to give reports and accounts of what they had done every quarter. Something that had also never been done before. Accountability. So during those meetings, which I also had to attend as president, so I would listen firsthand to the board's committee chairman, and board chairman, talking about what they had done, giving reports of what they had done, and also talking about the challenges. So it was easy for me to address those challenges. So it's I wouldn't say that there was the old order still reigned in my time. It was just one president with a very powerful team. And I'm so very grateful to them.
And a powerful team who made
with an agenda. You've got it. An agenda and a powerful team to drive the agenda.
Okay, this is it's not just about engineering now. Are we building with standards in Nigeria, or are we cutting corners and normalizing mediocrity? Especially where we're having so many building collapse and all that.
Yes, really, to some extent, we are not building with standards. And the reason is that there's a need for, we don't have enough synergy between the professionals and the regulatory authority. The synergy ought to be stronger. So we have the professionals who are supposed to design and supervise projects. And then we have the regulatory authority, we have the government agencies that authorize the building or the projects and monitor. But there's a kind of disconnect. So for instance, we have when the project design is presented, to the government to the regulatory body, they should involve regulatory agency. The professionals should be involved, before approval.
Yes.
Approval is given. So that disconnect is what is causing the problem. And then the fact that a lot of people still don't understand the fact that they must use professionals on their projects, because it's cheaper to call a Baba Silifa or an artisan who is just a bricklayer, and they call him engineer on site. Because it's cheaper, a lot of people still go for that method rather than invite a structural engineer, a whole team of structural engineer, mechanical, electrical, all of them come together to make a good design and build a good project, a resilient project. So it's a number of things, that the government and professionals need to come together to solve.
It is, because it has to come to a time where quacks will have to be identified, so the real professionals take up the job. Employers have been complaining that Nigeria is churning out graduates that are not employable for the real world. What is the NSC doing to checkmate this in your field that requires practical skills to thrive?
Well, what the NSC is doing, to start with, engineering is not just about theory, it's a lot of practical. And unfortunately, in most universities now, they don't have equipment to practicalize. That's number one. Number two, there's what we call the CWES, or the industrial training, during the study, the 5-year course of engineering. But we do not have enough industries where these undergraduates can have internship or can have industrial training and have hands-on learning of what's the theory that they are being taught in class. So those are the setbacks that we have. But the Nigerian Society of Engineers, on its part, is like what I said we had to do, bring in Midas IT to kind of help with software with which you can train the students. And then we also try to talk to industry, our firm members. We have corporate firm members, so we approach them. For instance, we have a partnership with Long Engineering.
Okay.
Long Engineering takes we have an MOU. In fact, we signed an MOU with Long to take some students for IT and to also take youth corpus, so that we can have. And then it's not just Long. We have one with Total Energies. We have quite a number, of industries like that we have approached, particularly in my time. We signed the MOU with Long, was signed in 2020, early 2025, and that is working very well. We have one with a partnership with Muka Foam. So with Muka Foam, it's even a double-edged advantage. Yes, or sword, because we have a partnership with them such that our members get discounts on all their products, and then they also take students for IT. So those are the things that NSC is doing to ensure that we're able to bridge some of this gap, because indeed, really, government needs to pay more attention to engineering education. Government needs to fund deliberately, be intentional in funding engineering education. also acknowledge the fact that I enjoyed a lot of grace of God. That's why my chronicle is titled Grace-Filled Footprints. I enjoyed a lot of grace. I mean, people who NSC would normally in the past, I remember that one of my people would say, I don't want to mention the name, say, we used to have money to put money in our pockets to go and look for people, how to reach them. But in your time, people are even coming. That's a special grace. You knock at doors and they are open. It's a grace of God. It's a grace of God. So it's not just about me or what I am as a person. It's the special grace of God that I enjoyed during my tenure. And I'm always grateful to God for it.
Yeah, it has to be God. So in one sentence, just one sentence, how would you define your stewardship?
Phenomenal.
Hmm.
I'll say that my stewardship was phenomenal, transformational. We did things that had never been done before, and we did them, with a lot of courage. And then I will also say that it's all of that happened because I had a great team.
Engineer Margaret Oguntala, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you. It's my
Thank
pleasure.
you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much for having me here. It
Thank
is my
you.
pleasure. And I say again that I am proud to be an Ondo State indigene. And I'm the
Okay.
first female engineer from Okakoko.
President.
Yeah,
Yes.
first female
Wow.
engineer from Okakoko. So,
Wow.
and
Many
then that
first.
a common Okakoko girl became president
Aye.
of the entire Nigerian Society of Engineers. So Makabiesi Olubaka is very happy. He was at my investiture. And our
Wow.
governor was also at my investiture. He dropped everything that he had to do on that day, on 23rd January 2024, to be at my investiture. And I recall that he told his protocol officer, anything that comes on 20th, have somebody else go. I have to be at this investiture. I'm grateful to him for that, for
Congratulations,
the
ma'am,
support.
and well
Thank you, ma'am.
done. Well
Thank you.
done. All
Thank you, ma'am.
right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, this is where we'll draw the curtain on the program Your Stewardship. We do not pretend that one interview settles a legacy, but we do believe that the willingness to sit under the spotlight to answer the hard questions about background, promises, impact, perception, and legacy is itself an act of courage. This has been Your Stewardship. I am Remy Allen. Go lead and be ready to give account. Bye until we meet again next week.